Interesting developments here today about supposedly all these dead people receiving Social Security benefits. Well, at first it was they were receiving Social Security benefits, then they're not receiving Social Security benefits. Then it's an issue with the database, but we'll talk about that all today. And one particular person I guess they found was who alive and kicking out there. And I'm going to go through all of the issues that happen when Social Security accidentally puts you in a death status. So turn that off there. All right. So when they put you in a death status, all kinds of different things happen. Your bank account, your Medicare stops, your credit cards are canceled, all kinds of crazy things. That's why Social Security always been very, very hesitant to go in there and clean up those records because, number one, it doesn't matter because nobody's receiving money from the database that is under, that's been the big issue. Not one penny has come out of the database that, these 20 million dead people, not one penny comes out of that database. Another database, the MBR, the Master Beneficiary Record, that's where the money comes from. And those are, correct. So it's kind of a little bit of sleight of hand, but we'll talk about one particular case here. And this is also going to be a live Q&A. You can tell it's live because anyway, there's also a live Q&A. I got tons of questions, people asking about gambling winnings. Does that count as part of your retirement income during early retirement? All kinds of different things. So we'll talk about all those. Make sure you type your questions in there. Okay, so there is a story, and I'm also going to get into that infamous 300, 200, 300-year-old person and kind of explain how something like that happens. But let's go ahead and get into the story. So there was a guy in Seattle whose Social Security, for whatever reason, they can usually never figure it out. This happened in the office I ran. Probably mine was the third busiest office in the country, and so we had tons of people in there coming on a daily basis. We serviced about 1,000 or so people every single day. And probably on a rough estimate, probably about once a year or something, someone would come in and we would have to do Social Security. The PR people hated when we called it this, but we had to do a resurrection. We had to resurrect these people from the dead because somewhere along the way, they were put in incorrectly that they were deceased. So they had to come down with a, ID and all that kind of stuff. And it's difficult to figure out what happened. How it happens right now in terms of when you pass away, if you ever had a loved one pass away, it's completely automatic. The death certificate, that's why they ask for the person's Social Security number on the death certificate. So the coroner's office or the funeral home or whatever, they get the Social Security number and then they report it to the state. And the state has an agreement with the Social Security Administration to get those records. And somewhere along, usually from what I found, my personal experience, it's someone at the coroner's office or the funeral home typing in the Social Security number wrong. The last two should be 1-2, but they type in 2-1. And usually it's caught, but sometimes it's not. The name is a little bit close as well, and so. Date of birth is a little bit close. So sometimes it doesn't get caught and it goes through the system and that person is officially deceased. So that's usually how it happens. It's someone in the very, very front end typing the Social Security number in wrong. And Social Security has always had a policy to not respond to any of those. They used to get, newspapers says, hey, this person is deceased. What is your response? And Social Security's official response was, it's a no-win game on those, so they never really responded to those. In terms of public relations, they addressed the issue. They went down to the local office. The person showed the ID and everything, and we resurrected them. Take out the date of death in that particular database, and also update their payment record so they get back and pay again. Again, those are two different things. And this is exactly what happened to Mr. Johnson there, Ned Johnson in Seattle. They immediately stopped his payments. You have to be alive the entire month in order to collect those benefits. They stopped his Medicare. So that's always an issue. That's why someone in the remarks said these Doge kids are getting a little rambunctious and killing people off. I don't think it was them. Like I said, this happens Shouldn't happen at all, but it does happen, unfortunately. And I don't think it was the Doge people yet, because this happened a little while ago. So I don't think they were in the system yet. But hopefully they don't go in there and do anything like this on a mass scale, because there's another story that came out. The Social Security Administration just came out with a press release that about these death records, and they said of these millions. So Social Security gets about 3 million death reports a year. Out of those, less than 1/3 of 1% are erroneously reported deaths that need to be corrected. That's pretty darn good. 99.65% or something like that. So that is pretty good. I ran the numbers. So SpaceX, the Elon Musk's rocket company, I ran the numbers, and they have a 99.3 success rate. So Social Security's success rate is twice as good as theirs, as SpaceX. And Elon Musk says, well, we need to close down Social Security because they're incompetent. They have these 20 million records that are, that's the greatest fraud in history, and all this other kind of, hyperbole. But Social Security needs to pay for it, and they need to go away. It's a giant Ponzi scheme anyway, and they're incompetent. And so that's his only proof that he's come up with, is about this database of death records. But the accuracy of that it is twice as good as SpaceX. So your move, Elon, you need to shut down SpaceX, because SpaceX is incompetent, and the rocket ships blow up more often than Social Security gets these death records incorrect. So there's the reality. And we're not even talking about credit card companies. How many credit card companies incorrectly open up a credit card for someone that's using someone else's Social Security number? Someone steals your Social Security number and opens up a credit card. So the failure rate, the accuracy on that is probably a lot less than the Social Security Administration. I've seen anywhere from 300,000 or 400,000 incorrect accounts are opened up every year based on fake Social Security numbers, someone using someone else's Social Security number. So is the next step, they're going to shut down Visa and MasterCard. So yeah, it doesn't make any sense. If you put two and two together, you don't get catfish. All right, what about these 300-year-old people? Okay, so the 300-year-old people, on supposedly, again, these people are the acting commissioner of Social Security, who is a Doge guy. He worked at Social Security, but he was very loyal to Doge, and he was kind of under investigation for giving out stuff that he shouldn't have given out, allegedly. And then Doge said, "Hey, you're our guy," and he became, the acting commissioner. It's the first time anything like that's been done like that. Even the Doge guy himself said that, yes, there's a bunch of erroneous records from, the 70s and 60s and 50s and 40s and stuff that, but these people are not getting paid. It's just this particular database, we can't officially close out those records because we don't have an official death certificate. And let's say let's say someone 200 or 300 years old. How would something like that happen? Obviously, Social Security started in 1935, so it doesn't make sense. Well, I've talked about this before, so regular viewers, please tolerate this repetition. But say someone goes into the Social Security Administration in Cleveland, Ohio in 1976, and they have a child, and they want to get a Social Security number for their child. And they put the numbers wrong. Instead of the date of birth being 1976, they put 1796. Or the person typing it up put 1796 or something, right? And the kid gets a Social Security number, and then he goes, and then he never really works. He's not old enough. So if that child ever comes into the Social Security Administration at 62, they're going to say, "Oh, you're that 200 or 300-year-old person. We need a death certificate in order to put you in pay," because the person is not in pay yet. So once you go into the Social Security Administration, those who have had an incorrect date of birth know that if you go into the Social Security Administration and your date of birth is incorrect, you have to get an original birth certificate and prove it, and they update the system. So if this person ever comes in to get paid, they'll have to correct the date of birth. But as of right now, the person has never shown up. Maybe the family immediately moved overseas, or the guy has never really worked. He's always been like a shade tree mechanic, so he's always been kind of out of the system. So, but it's just sitting there. So when the kid as an adult eventually shows up, it'll be corrected. But as of now, it's just sitting there. There's no address for this person. You can't reach out to them. If Social Security decides to go ahead and just fake a date of death, which number one is that's fraud. Then if this person is actually somewhere out there, then everything's going to get canceled. Their credit cards and maybe their mortgage or something, or maybe they're overseas and they can't come back in the United States now. So Social Security said, hey, no money is coming out of that record. It's not beautiful. We can fix it, but it's going to take a lot of money, and it's a waste of money. So Social Security has always been in a tough situation. They could say, okay, you give us, $5 or $8 million they estimated that would take to fix all those records. It's not going to save the taxpayer one penny. If you want us to do it, we'll do it. But we think that's a waste of money, of taxpayer money. So we're just not going to do it. If you want us to do it, we'll do it more than, but yeah, it's a waste of money. So those are the things happening. So that's pretty good. 1/3 of 1% is pretty good accuracy. It's a lot better than SpaceX. So maybe he needs to go shut that down first because of the incompetence of SpaceX. If that's the argument he's taking against Social Security. So I don't think that's going to happen. All right, so let's go ahead and move into your question. Let me answer that one question about people that get gambling earnings when they're receiving early retirement. It didn't say whether early retirement, but if you're receiving early retirement, so you're limited to the amount of money you can make. This year, it's the $23,400. If you're receiving disability benefits, SSDI, if you're receiving survivor benefits, spouse benefits early, then you're limited. But gambling earnings, inheritance, and stuff like that, that is not considered earned income. So it won't count against you unless you are in fact a professional gambler, and that's what you do for a living. That is your job, is to be a professional gambler. Go play Pai-Gow or Tiddlywinks or whatever the case may be. Then that is considered your job, and you're earning a living doing that. Same type of thing with real estate. I always get that question about I've got a Airbnb, or I've got a second home that I rent out or something like that. It doesn't count as earned income unless that is your job. You're a realtor and situation, and that your business is renting out homes and stuff like that. But if just kind of like a side thing, and that's kind of your nest egg for retirement, and you're just doing it that way, then it doesn't count as earned income for the annual earnings limit. All of that does count if you're receiving SSI. SSI is the supplemental security income. That's the welfare-based benefit. So that's for people with low income, low resources. And so anytime you get any money coming into the house, then yes, that is very well counted against you. So, all right, next question. In July, I will retire at 62. I have 2 children under the age of 18, but my wife is under 62. Will she receive a retirement pension or when she reaches the age of 62? Okay, so when you file for benefits on your own record, the children are eligible for benefits as auxiliary children because they're under the age of 18. They will receive benefits until their benefits will automatically stop when they reach 18. But if they're still in high school, they'll continue until they graduate high school, or 19 in a couple of months. Unless they are disabled. Disabled children under the age of 22 can get what's called disabled adult child benefits. And if they're disabled, they can receive those for the rest of their lives. Your wife, there is a thing called auxiliary child in care. So if your wife is not working or earning under the annual earnings limit, $23,400, she can collect benefits as a auxiliary child in care, she's staying home essentially to take care of the children. But one of the children have to be at least under 16 years old. At least one child needs to be under 16 years old or disabled before the age of 22. And there's a family max. So For each record, there's a maximum that could be paid out of your record. So if you have X amount of money, the max that could be paid out, and then subtract yours, and then whatever's left over, they divide it by 2 or by 3. So sometimes it doesn't, you don't get any extra money if the mother, the child in care benefit is added in there. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But when they help you out at your local office and get all that, just ask them about hey, can my wife, child in care, can she get the child in care benefits, or does that reduce the other benefit and the same amount comes in? And so, yeah, they'll go over the numbers with you. So, Dr. Ed, is the truth to seniors will not have their Social Security checks garnished if you only have Social Security and or a pension to pay living expenses? Even the IRS cannot garnish your check to pay taxes. Yeah, the IRS can pretty much do anything they want. Yeah. So, yeah, if you have, the IRS can do, if you've got you can obviously negotiate with the IRS, but I don't want to get into the IRS type stuff because I never worked at the IRS. But yeah, I've seen IRS garnish wages or garnish Social Security, and child support garnishes Social Security, and alimony garnish Social Security. So, Laura, what's up, Laura? I'm turning 64. I'm 64, turning 65 in November, and collect SSDI. If I switch my Advantage plan to a supplement plan, will I have to have a medical exam and health screening? I'm in Pennsylvania. Awesome. You sound like you know what you're talking about. So yes, because you're on SSDI in most states, when you're on SSDI under 65, all you can get is a Medicare Advantage plan. And some people would rather get a Medicare supplement plan because they don't want to go through the prior authorizations and, limited networks and everything. But yes, Laura, when you turn 65, you can get whatever you want. No health underwriting whatsoever. So they can't charge you extra either. Some states say, oh, yeah, you can get a Medicare supplement plan at 55, but we're going to charge you 5 times more than everybody else. But yeah, once you turn 65, you can get any Medicare supplement plan you want, NG, and there's no health underwriting. Nobody can ask you health questions or anything like that. And then, yeah, you get it. Yeah. So great. Perfect. And then you can reach out to Chapter. They're the ones that sponsor this question and answer period, and they can help you out. They work, they have agents that can help you out in Pennsylvania. So reach out to them when you about 3 months before you turn 65. And this is also the open enrollment period. It lasts for about another 10 days or so. Into March. So January, February, March, you can change your Medicare Advantage plan to another Medicare Advantage plan. Check your Medicare Advantage plan. Make sure you're still in the best one. Make sure your doctors are covered and stuff like that. And Chapter can help you out. Just giving them a call and they can walk through all that. And it's Sunday today, so they're closed today, but give them a call tomorrow and they'll help you out. Recently widowed, less income, owe taxes, and the IRS thinks I can pay a third of my income. If I do, then I can't afford my expenses. Is there an Arista program? I know with Social Security Administration, that's one of the things they do is if you have a debt, an overpayment to Social Security, you can ask to get it waived. An SSA 632 asks to get it waived, or come up with some type of payment plan. And if it's beyond 60 months, then Social Security is going to want, some type of documentation of how much your income is, how much your expenses, to see how much is left over on a monthly basis. And then they, negotiate from there. So the IRS, I never worked for the IRS, but hopefully they work the same as Social Security. Sure. Where's the proof with the original paperwork? Okay. I'm not sure what proof we're talking about. Is this for real? A person collecting Social Security, I had read many years ago in the inquiry, inquiry minds want to know, were several stories about relatives not reporting. Yeah, most of the, those 20 million records or so that are, just don't have a date of death on there. And I've talked about this, president can do an executive order. Okay, just go ahead, fake the date of death, the death certificate. Again, it's not going to save any money because this is just a separate database with the Social Security number. Everybody has a Social Security number, in that file. I have one in that file, but I do not have a payment record because I'm not receiving Social Security benefits. I have, if you've got children, they've got one of these, and hopefully they're correct. The date of birth and everything is correct. If it's not, when they go later, they'll have to correct it. But They don't have one of these. So only people that are currently being paid have both, right? And this is the important one, the master beneficiary record. That's where the actual money comes from. So the database that Elon Musk and Doge are looking at, zero has been paid out of that particular database. Zero since 1935. No money has come out of that database at all. So it's not going to save anybody money. Let's see here. Set up my Social Security record today. All looked fine. Thanks for the suggestion. All right, perfect. Yes, that's one recommendation I'm making, because there's all kind of some changes, updating the computer system, hopefully. And I gave the example of Japan a few years ago, did the same thing, and they lost 50 million records in the process. So hopefully that doesn't happen with us. It took them about 10 years to finally fix it. And the prime minister lost his job. And so it was crazy. He never provides proof. It depends if the family didn't notify Social Security of death, but now the funeral home will notify Social Security of a decease. Muskie shows us proof. Yeah, the Doge and Musk are just making allegations, and they've changed their allegations. At first they were saying, this is the greatest fraud in history, and all this money is going out to 20 million people. And then they said, oh, okay, well, yeah, okay, money's not going out because their commissioners, the acting commissioner of Social Security, who's a Doge guy, says, yeah, there's no money coming out. It's just, the records aren't exactly perfectly clean, but no money's coming out of there. So once, that 112-year-old supposed person comes in, it'll show, oh, we had your date of birth wrong. It wasn't, 1912, it was 1962 or something. So, and then they correct it, and, people go on with their lives. But politicians love to use that as a club to beat up Social Security. So Gracie, back again. In the last year, allowed my husband filed and suspended his Social Security. I took spousal benefits, and our ADC, probably your DAC, your disabled adult child, went from SSI to being on dad's benefit. I was a stay-at-home mom too. Yes. So when you have a child receiving benefits, they get up to 50% of the parent's full benefit amount, the PIA, the primary insurance amount, if the parent is still around. When that parent passes away, the child receives 75%. So it switches from 50% up to 75%. Okay, let me get some other people here. Got tons of questions. So, trouble getting spousal, child, and care benefits. 3 attempts with range of results. Is there a specific Social Security resource I should ask for, or keywords I need to use? They're reducing my benefit being 63. Yes, if you're filing for benefits at 63, they are reducing your benefit. So they take the family max minus your full benefit amount, not your reduced, your full benefit amount, and then whatever's left after that family max, then they divide it. If you only have one child, then there's probably the child and care benefits are available. But if you have 2 or 3, then the issue just might be the family max. So I would call them up and say, hey, we've been trying to get the child and care benefits, and for whatever reason, we haven't been getting it. Is the reason because there's no money left? So if there's $1,000 left and you have 2 people, then each will get $500. If you have 3 people, they will each get $333, right? So it works out the same. So maybe that's why, because the family max, you've already, reached it. Survivors benefits started 2023, still working. Social Security started benefits 4 months earlier than full retirement age due to a special program, no overpayment payback required. Overpayment letter February 27th. Should I appeal? Yes, you should always appeal. Anytime Social Security makes a decision that you disagree with, appeal. It's an SSA 561, request for reconsideration, super easy. People say, well, should I get a lawyer? They won't help you. Lawyer. Well, I mean, a lawyer, if you pay them, $5, $10, $20,000, for 5 minutes worth of work, they'd be more than happy to take it. But yeah. So yes, always file an appeal. And this is the same with appeal, Social Security decisions. If you disagree with it, if you have a Medicare Advantage plan and they deny, through the prior authorization, if they deny whatever, your doctor says you need this, and the company, the bean counters at the company say, at the health insurance company says, appeals, they have a really good rate of being approved. So people just have to fight for it. If you have a Medicare supplement plan, you don't have to appeal anything, because if Medicare pays for it, then the Medicare supplement plan pays for it. They have no say so whatsoever. So is Medicare going to be eliminated? No, I don't. I certainly hope not. It's been around since the 1960s. I know Dr. Oz is a big fan of Medicare Advantage plans. He used to hawk those on his program, the Dr. Oz show. And they're better than Medicare A and B alone. Medicare A and B has a lot of financial gaps that you're liable for. So to fill those gaps, I always recommend looking at Medicare supplement plans first, the N and the G. But the reason a lot of people don't get that is because of their health, or they just can't afford the monthly premium and part of their budget. So Medicare Advantage plan is better than having nothing, unless you got a few $1,000,000 sitting around. But the issue with Medicare Advantage plan is the prior authorizations and the networks, and you have to check those on a regular basis, about once a year or so, and keep up on them. So why is there a cap on FICA taxes? Yeah, I agree. Yeah, why? So what Elizabeth is talking about is us, probably everybody out there watching, we pay FICA Social Security on every dollar we make until we make $176,100 this year. Once you make over $176,100, all the money you make is exempt from FICA taxes, Social Security part of FICA taxes. And that's the reason that Social Security is coming to that crunch here in a few years, is because of that. It is because more money is going to the top, and that money isn't paying into FICA like the rest of us. So we're not asking for the rich to pay more. We're asking them to pay, what we do, the 6.2% on every dollar we make. So yeah. I was on Disabled Widows on Advantage plan. Can I now switch to supplement without health underwriting? I'm 68 now. You will have to, it depends on your state. Some states you do, some states you don't. And there's some states have like birthday rules and all kinds of different things. But probably you're going to have to go through health underwriting. But it doesn't hurt to check. So you can reach out to chapter there, and they can check your state and check your particular situation, and see what they can do. And, you're 68, so you're still young. Maybe you might be healthy enough to pass. The health underwriting, I had Ari here from chapter, and he explained what health underwriting is. About 20 or 30 questions. You don't have to go to a physical and all this kind of stuff. They just ask you, have you had a heart attack in the last year, 2, 3 years? Every company is a little bit different. Some companies say, if you have a heart attack within 3 years, well, no. But if it's over 3 years, no. Some companies says 5 years. So each company is a little bit different, and chapter knows the different companies, know how to work around it. So let's see. Rebecca, I'm 61 years old on disability. I'm receiving SSI. I turned 62 in June of this year. Do I need to sign up for SSDI or Social Security? If you're on SSI, Supplemental Security Income, yes, you will have to file for retirement benefits, because SSI is a welfare-based program, and anytime you have any money out there available to you, you have to take it, because SSI is a welfare-based program. So yes, and SSI, the Social Security office, if there's still one open in your area, they will tell you, hey, you're eligible for retirement benefits or spouse benefits or divorce spouse benefits, and because you receive an SSI, you have to file for those. So, and if you don't, then you will be, you're going to have issues. So just to be on the safe side, because the Social Security offices are being gutted, so there might not be someone out there to reach out to you, and then maybe 6 months later, they'll reach out to you, and then you'll have a nasty overpayment because of it. So this is another, the kind of the stuff that's going to be happening. A lot of people are going to be suffering because of these cutbacks. Okay, I already answered that one. I'm 71 on SSI and SSDI, not SSA. If they shut down you on benefits, do they just stop or do you get notified? Okay, number one, you're not on SSDI anymore. You're actually on SSA. SSDI is Social Security Disability Insurance. So if you are receiving SSI, the max you can get on SSI, so you're getting SSI being based on being aged. SSI, you can get SSI for two reasons: you're disabled or you're aged, 65 and older. And both of those categories for SSI is the welfare-based program. You have to, low income, low resources. SSDI, you were probably on SSDI at one time, but once you hit your full retirement age, they switch you to regular retirement benefits. So now you're probably on SSI and just regular, retirement benefits. But if they shut down your benefits, do they just stop? Yeah, unfortunately, they just kind of stop. They're supposed to, they send you a letter at first in those particular cases, and they say, hey, because of X, Y, or Z, because you made $1 billion or you got this inheritance because you're an SSI, we're going to do this, that, and the other, and you have the right to appeal. So that's why it's always, always, always important to make sure your address is updated. Particularly when you're on SSI. People on SSI have a lot more communication with the Social Security office, and that's why SSI is low income. So those are the people that are really struggling out there, and they really depend on their local Social Security office to help them out to navigate their bureaucracy. And those are the people that are going to be hurt the most from all of these cutbacks. And so it's always the people that can least afford it and least take the hurt are the people that are hurt, unfortunately. Alonzo donated $4.99. Thank you. And he asks, I'm a DAC, a disabled adult child. I was contacted by the Social Security and told I was eligible for my deceased father's Social Security. Do I receive money going back to when he passed last 3 of 24? That should have been automatic unless you're receiving the disabled adult child benefits from your mother's record. So maybe you're receiving it from your mother's record and then your father passed away and now there's more money on your father's record. So you'll switch over from DAC to his record. And yeah, they should pay you back. All the way back to March 2024. Not sure why they're just reaching out to you a year later. I would definitely keep an eye on that and make sure they do pay you back to March 2024. And if they don't, they should have a very, very good reason why they don't, but they do in that situation. So maybe they just got notification of his passing or whatever the case may be. So, and remember, that is 75%. So you'll get 75% of his full benefit amount. So. Hey, Take and Took Q&A's out. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Take and Took is always here looking out for the people, the new people, and teaching them how to navigate this question and answer thing and answering questions. Awesome. Got a great bunch of volunteers out there that help out and share and like and subscribe and stuff like that because a lot of people, need help. My brother-in-law filed a Social Security disability insurance claim using a lawyer in early January. He just got notified by the lawyer that he has been approved. Said he won't get his first pay until June. Why the wait? Yeah, there's a 5-month waiting period. Wow. He was approved in 2 months. That's good and terrible. If you're approved that quickly, that means it is. I've had cases where I took the disability claim in the morning and it was approved the same day or the next day. And the reason is because Social Security has this algorithm. They look at things, terminal cancer and really terrible, disabilities. And those are really super expedited. So if he got his disability, I'm glad he got it that quickly. But it's one of those bittersweet things. I'm sure he wished he never got it, because he's got a severe disability. So, but to answer your question, yeah, there's a 5-month waiting period. So nobody gets Social Security disability benefits for the first 5 months. There's actually a bill in Congress trying to end that 5-month waiting period. So stop mocking Elon. Yeah, I mean, he puts himself out there, and if he says this, why can't if he says this is the case for Social Security, why can't we, you know, turn around as fair game? Don't you think? Because it's just he's got a few $100 billion, and he is hurting people, making them suffer. People that can't afford that. So yeah, attended my state's university at a non-traditional age. Can I file under the Social Security Fairness Act to recoup that time like firefighters, et cetera, are as Social Security tax was not taken out of their checks, just like mine? Um, it depends. If you're receiving benefits and your benefit amount was recalculated because of that windfall elimination provision, then yes, you can. That should automatically be done. But if your benefit amount was never wept, and then it's not an issue. We were erroneously charged IRMA. So that's the income related monthly adjustment amount, an extra premium that high wage earners pay for their Part B premium. I had a phone appointment September 2023, never called. I have records. I forgot and now want to see about the refund. What would be the best way to go? Then, yeah, you just, you have to call doesn't really do anything. You have to submit the form, the SSA 44. It's a life-changing event. So you'll have to unfortunately do that again and send that in, make a copy of it, fax it in, mail it in, whatever the case may be. And hopefully your local office is open and they will take a look at it, and then definitely keep up on it. And then contact your politicians and tell them, hey, I've been working on this for 2 years. What's going on? How come, there's nobody at my local office to able to help me out? What are y'all doing? So I like that. Shade tree mechanic. Yes. Shade tree mechanic. Yes. Millions in fraudulent loans, grants, votes, all kind of fraud found with SSA database used to steal. Yeah, no, not sure what that means. People often conflate Social Security numbers. So you hear politicians talk and they say, Social Security has these records that are erroneous and yada, yada, yada. And then they talk about something else. And then they talk about, well, people got small business loans based on Social Security number. Okay, that has nothing to do with Social Security. Why are you attacking Social Security and trying to shut down Social Security when, okay, if it's a small business administration issue, then contact them. It's kind of like, we should get rid of credit card companies. We should get rid of Social Security because credit card companies keep giving credit cards to people that are, using someone else's Social Security, or guns. I mean, the ultimate thing is, okay, if people use guns to hurt other people, then the gun company should, forget the Second Amendment. We should shut them all down. No, it's just because you're using a Social Security number to do other kinds of crazy stuff. Is that the fault of the Social Security Administration? The Social Security number should have never, ever been used as a general, number for everybody to use on everything. It specifically says this is a Social Security number. This is for Social Security benefits. This is, to get your disability benefits, retirement benefits. And then over the decades, everybody started using it. And then everybody blames Social Security because they used to come down to my office all the time and says, if somebody committed fraud, they open up a bank account in my name. And so Social Security says, sorry, we can't help you. That has nothing to do with us. That has nothing to do with us. So they made that wild hair specter. Thank Elon. That was epic. What? Say his name. Okay. Sadly, the head of Doge cannot fix and concentrate on their own company. Why do we expect them to repair the Department of Social Security? There is no logic to this. Yeah, logic is pretty much out the window, seems like. But I have thought I'm going to do another video probably later today that I've been kind of not optimistic recently, but I think I might be more optimistic. But I'll make a video on that later. I will be 65 on August 30th this year. I plan to apply for both Medicare and my benefits. Is April or May too early? Yeah, you can only apply. You can only apply 3 months early. So Social Security, they can't put it in the system. They, you know, if you apply, if somehow you are able to apply over 3 months, usually 3 months and a day, or a few days or something like that, you can kind of play around with. But anything over that, then there's a chance of it being lost in the paper, in the shuffle. um, because if someone takes your claim way early, and especially now, that person might not have a job, so I wouldn't, have that person sit on it for 4 months, because, in 4 months, that person might not be here anymore. So, what is the annual earnings for SSDI? There is no annual earnings for SSDI. SSDI runs by the substantial gainful activity. And this year, it's $1,620 a month. So anything you go over that. But I've done several videos on, working and receiving disability benefits. There's the trial work period where you can make as much as you want for 9 months to try to see if you're able to go back to work and all the rest of it. So let's see here. SpaceX FFA all shaky because of incompetence. Musk. Okay. Yeah. So his space company has, twice the failure rate as Social Security. So if he's saying that Social Security is completely incompetent because they have half the failure rate, then the logic dictates that he needs to cut down. He needs to shut down SpaceX. So I'm not arguing that. I'm just throwing his crazy logic back. So when a spouse who has been receiving the 50% spousal benefit reports the death of their spouse, do they need to file an app for surviving spouse benefits, or is it automatic? Okay, so you're already receiving 50%, so it's usually automatic. If you're past your full retirement age, if you're full retirement age and beyond, then it's automatic. If you're under your full retirement age, remember, you can choose not to receive those benefits, surviving spouse benefits, early. You can just suspend it and then wait for your full retirement age to start surviving spouse benefits. But if you're past your full retirement age, then yeah, it's automatic. So if not, then you have to contact Social Security because they'll put you in suspense. They're supposed to put you in suspense until you contact them. Overkill. What's up, Overkill? Wife, 62, retires this year. I have 0 on my record as a stay-at-home dad, and I'm only 60. Is there a monetary advantage for me to wait until full age to retire rather than me claiming at 62? Okay, so if your wife is going to go ahead and file for benefits on her record. And then in a couple of years, when you turn 62, then you can collect benefits on her record. And you can technically wait until your full retirement age and collect at that time, and you get the full 50%. But then again, you're missing all the checks between now and, then. So it really depends on your particular situation. So your longevity in your family and all that kind of good stuff. So Ed, they have found millions in fraud. I haven't seen it yet. They haven't found a penny of Social Security fraud yet. But Social Security employees in the last month have probably found millions of dollars of fraud, because that's how you do fraud in Social Security is, usually it's disability and SSI. You send out the paperwork and say, hey, it's not really fraud. And most of it is not, there is fraud, obviously, but a lot of it is people not reporting their wages. They don't know they have to report it. They don't know the difference between the trial work period and the SGA and the EPA and, unsuccessful work attempt. And, the system is complicated. So people work and they don't report their earnings. And then Social Security has to send out the CDR or the work CDR, the continued disability review, and they get it back and say, hey, you owe us, $3,000 because you worked during this, that, and that month. And none of that is sexy and exciting. It's a grueling every day since 1935, process. And Elon Musk is trying to go in there and, find something that he can find billions of dollars and, one fell swoop. And he hasn't come up with anything yet other than allegations and, records over here that nothing gets paid from. So. And that's a testament to Social Security, Politicians have been talking crap about Social Security for decades, how incompetent they are and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, I don't see the receipts, as someone put. No, there's nothing there. So, and again, there is fraud, waste, and abuse, but that's found every day of single people, individual people. But we're not talking about whole wide swaths of these 50 million people are receiving benefits incorrectly or whatever the case may be. No. Then people should move to a state with a lower cost of living. That's what a lot of people are doing. They're moving, if they're making other money, they move to states that don't tax Social Security. They're moving to other places that have a lower cost of living. My Social Security was stopped once because I didn't turn in the paperwork they send out checking to see if you're still alive. I misunderstood. Okay, so you're probably living overseas. So that is a form that they send out when you're living overseas to make sure you're. And that's what a lot of those date of deaths are. What about a lot of, well, probably a lot is people move overseas and they pass away. They don't return those forms, and Social Security still has that Social Security number, that database. It doesn't have a date of death because they passed away overseas and don't know when they exactly passed away, the month and day and the year. But this over here, they've stopped payment. They stop payment immediately. But they can't close out beautifully, perfectly this record over here because they need a date of death. And people say, well, then just fake it. That's called fraud. Yeah. So, how does this sound? I would like to live in Beverly Hills, but I don't. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Tiana Taylor, what's up? I'm 65 and retired, but not claiming benefits. I have an adopted child. Can I claim benefits for him without affecting mine and my taxes? I will make $65,000 a year. If the child is disabled, yes. But if not, no. You have to start benefits on your record, and you can't because you're making way over the annual earnings limit. So once you hit your full retirement age, or you stop working, or reduce your benefit amount or your income to under the earnings limit, then once you file, for benefits for your adopted child, and they will receive benefits up until they are 18 years old or graduate high school. In the old days, it used to be until they graduate college, but then it was changed to high school. My Medicare replacement plan covered 99% of my 200,000 cancer treatments. This comment thanks to the Social Security. Yeah, that's so. You have a Medicare, probably a Medicare supplement plan. Yeah, probably a Medicare. Yeah, Medicare supplement plan. Probably a G. So yeah, if it was $1 million, it would cover. And if that was covered, you would pay everything but $257, right? So that's why I recommend Medicare supplement plans if you can afford it. So Alabama is the least expensive state to live in. Google it and see for yourself. Okay. I just don't think many people like Joe get it. He just has no clue how hard life has been for many of us. Yeah, there's what, 40-50% of people that live alone live on Social Security. Yeah, alone. Yeah, just on their Social Security check. So it's tough out there for a lot of people. Approximately 40% of Social Security direct deposit fraud is associated with someone calling Social Security to change direct deposit bank information. Social Security direct deposit fraud. Yeah, I could probably see that. And they just changed. It doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it's terrible. So it shouldn't happen at all. And they just changed that. Doge and them were talking about getting rid of phone service completely. So if you needed to, file a new claim or something like that, you had to do it on the internet or you had to go to the local office. And they got massive pushback. And so they dialed back that and they, retreated. But they did keep the direct deposit thing. So you cannot call on the phone and change your direct deposit. You have to do it on the phone or you have to go into the local office. And unfortunately, people are on disability or something that change their bank account. People that are elderly live out in the, out in the sticks. Yeah, it's going to be very difficult for them. So, I noticed on the Social Security page last time I was on, they had job openings. I'm wondering if this chaos they caused is they so can hire cheap CSA, et cetera, and get rid of the old guard who actually knew their stuff. I haven't seen any job, and I know there's been a hiring freeze. There might be some technical, or they're hiring for Doge, Social Security, or whatever the case may be. But yeah, Social Security has been on a hiring freeze for unfortunately quite a while. So, isn't there also a cap on how much you can get back? Perhaps the cap should be higher, but I don't think it should be uncapped. If the person can't get equivalent money back, yeah, that's people ask about that. If they smash the cap and everybody pays, FICA cap on every dollar they make, will there also be no cap on how much you can get back, and therefore it would defeat the purpose? Well, there has to be a cap on how much you get paid back. So if, like someone that makes $1 billion a year, they're not going to get, $15 million from Social Security, because that would defeat the purpose. So there would be a cap. But as we talked about here today, there are caps already. If the family max, that's a cap. And Social Security, since day one, since 1935, has always paid higher wage earners that paid more into the system less. The most you can get as a replacement is 90%, and then it goes all the way down to the 30s. So the more you pay into Social Security, the less as a percentage you get back, and that's been like that since 1935. So the VA has my name incorrect on my W-2s. No income recorded on my Social Security earnings since 21. Social Security says they go by my last name versus SSN. Appears I have two records now. Is there a way to merge my SSN? Yes, it's called scrambled earnings. Yeah, very, very easy. Well, it's not easy. It's kind of a nightmare, but that's the Social Security employee's issue. Yeah, so if you have scrambled earnings, you have some, under this Social Security number, that you maybe got two Social Security numbers. It did happen in the 70s and stuff. Then they just consolidate those. We think we had like one a year. So out of the millions of claims my office took, we probably had one of these a year. Less as we go beyond. And once they made the system more electronic, then it happens, pretty much non-existent nowadays. But on the old Social Security numbers, yeah, sometimes it did happen. So yeah, once you file for benefits, that's usually the best way to do it. So once you file for benefits, you go there and you show them, hey, the VA, worked under this one, and I did this other one, and they will consolidate those records and get you taken care of. If you want to do it now, because you just want to do it now, then yeah, you can go in there and just provide those proof that you are that same person, and they will get it fixed. When signing up for Social Security, which form of ID is better? ID me or the login of the website? Thanks for all you do. You're welcome. I think I didn't use the other one. I used ID me, and it wasn't too bad. I did it like early in the morning. The guy on the other side, I had to put my ID up to my head, and he was like half asleep and stuff. So, but I did it like super early in the morning. So you can do it, I guess, pretty much 24/7. And it's a nightmare. It is, but it's good. And that, because to make it difficult to set up a My Social Security account protects you, because it makes it more difficult for other people in the world to go in there and pretend to be you and start changing your direct deposit and doing stupid stuff. So yeah, the extra security is, definitely helpful. Cynthia, $20. Wow, thank you. I got my lunch and my coffee IV for the day. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Really appreciate your sharing your expertise, Dr. Ed. Thanks for giving your time to help others. You are welcome. Thank you very much. Let me know when you find the guy collecting Social Security at age 50. Yeah, they ain't going to find him. Yeah, there's nobody collecting Social Security. There is a centenarian project that all offices do, and we used to do it in my office. Once somebody turns 100 years old, we send out an employee from the office. I print it out. All offices do this. They print out a little certificate, says, congratulations, you reached 100 years old. And I used to give it to my employee, Ronnie. Hey, Ronnie. and he would go out into the nursing home or the person's home or wherever that person was and present them with the centenarian, the 100-year-old thing. And it was nice, but the reason was to go out there and make sure that person is still alive. So everybody that was 100 years or older, and my district and all districts, they got that thing, and people went out there and knocked on the door and confirmed that they were still out there. So yeah, the 150-year-old person is just someone. It's just a typo probably, or Amelia Earhart. So she got a Social Security card. So maybe because she's missing in action, somewhere in the South Pacific, and so I don't think she's going to turn up. So again, these people are not getting paid. So, but it's a club politicians use to beat up Social Security. So. I'm 67, been on Social Security disability and survivor benefits, and they have not switched my status yet. Will I keep both checks? Yeah. Yep. They probably already did. You just didn't notice because your check stays the same, the direct deposit stays the same. Yeah. So you are on just survivor benefits or survivor benefits and retirement benefits on your own record. So you're duly entitled. You're getting X amount from your own record plus usually on top survivor benefits. X amount on survivor benefits. So, yep, you probably won't even know. You've probably already been switched. And the good thing is for you, you're no longer on disability. So no more CDRs, no more continued disability reviews, no more work limitations. You can go out there and do anything you want. Social Security doesn't care. Go enjoy your life. If I'll be switched to survivors on my father's record, while my mother is on spousal benefits, will I have to share my portion with my mother? No, not at all. Well, I mean, Social Security, Social Security, you don't. My husband is on disability, had a stroke 9 years ago, and been staying in a long-term facility. He is on Part A and B and D and Medicaid, helping me pay his facility. He is now 56. Any advice? All right. So yeah, sounds like everything is really, he's on disability. Good. He'll continue to receive disability. If he gets, those continued disability reviews, make sure they fill it out, return it and everything. He's on A, B. One thing I'd watch out for is he's on Medicaid, and he also has Medicare, it sounds like, because he's been on disability for 2 years. So he has Medicare and Medicaid. So some Medicare agents, health insurance agents, will want to sign him up for a Medicare Advantage plan. But if he's in some type of long-term facility like that, they don't like Medicare Advantage plans. They like dealing directly with Medicaid. So if you're in a long-term facility, or you have someone coming out to your house on a regular basis and you're on Medicaid, before you get, enticed with those Medicare Advantage, a grocery card or extra, whatever, those extra bells and whistles and stuff, contact your facility, contact the person coming out to your house and helping you out and saying, hey, this Medicare Advantage, plan in my area gives me an extra $200 a month or $300 a month or whatever, for groceries. I could really use that money. But if I get a Medicare Advantage plan, are y'all going to drop me? Are y'all still going to be able to come out and help me out? Because a lot of those companies, they say, oh yeah, we do accept Medicare Advantage, but they do, but they don't like them because they get paid more and quicker from Medicaid. They like dealing with Medicaid directly rather than Medicare Advantage. So there's a lot of Medicare insurance agents that, try to play sleight of hand just so they can get their quote and get their sales. But they're not looking after, your best interests. So that's exactly why I joined up with Chapter, because they always look after your best interest like that. They give you the full story. I was tired of, people out there taking advantage of people and not giving them the entire rundown. Kids, if underage and if their parents are on Social Security or disabled, won't qualify for payment. Nope, they will. If the children are under 18 years old, if their parents are on Social Security or disability benefits, the children, as long as the children are under the age of 18 or became disabled before the age of 22, yes, they are eligible for benefits. Absolutely. Let's see. 8 billion is not 8 million. Sorry, dropping a factor of 1,000 is worthy of a good mock of Musk. I don't know what that was. 8 billion versus 8 million. Did I say that mistakenly? Okay. So, yeah. All right. When I apply for SSI in a few months, you mean SSI? That's the welfare-based program. You're probably talking about just regular retirement or whatever. Can I apply for spousal benefits at the same time online, or is it a separate phone call? Thanks for all you do. You're welcome. Yeah, you can apply at the same time. So if you're also eligible for spouse benefits, your current spouse is receiving benefits, or you have a previous spouse that you were married to for 10 years and they're at least 62 years old, yes, you can get those benefits if you're eligible, but you file for benefits on your own record and then you file for spouse benefits, and you do that at the same time. Yep. So once you call up and you tell them, hey, I want to file for benefits on my record, and I'm also going to file for spouse benefits, and they will go through everything and make sure you're eligible for both. All right. As usual, in 50 minutes, I've just got way too many questions. So let me jump down here and grab one at random. Proof of life form. Couldn't I fill that out in the Social Security website on my account instead of going through the mail? No, they and because anybody can go in there and if your significant other knows your login stuff, then they can go in there and just, even after you're passed, they can go in there and do all that and pretend you're alive for decades or something. But they did change it recently, that instead of mailing it, you're supposed to be able to contact the federal benefits unit in your particular area. They're not in every country, but you can contact the federal benefits unit, and supposedly they're able to do it over the phone. I haven't heard anybody successfully able to do that yet. Most of the times it's just you have to mail those things back. So ID me is good. Oh, okay, good. So someone had perfect. Medicare has my birth date wrong, and we have told them, and the doctor has more than 20 times and has never changed. How can I get it changed? You have to get it changed with the Social Security Administration. So the reason it's wrong, probably 99% of the time, the reason it's wrong is because your Social Security number is wrong. You have your Social Security card and you say, well, it doesn't have my date of birth, my Social Security card. No. Internally, it's called the NUMIDENT, the NUMI. It has your name, all the names you used. It has your Social Security number, has your date of birth. That's where the whole date of death, thing comes. It has your parents' name, your mother's maiden name, city and state where you're born. So probably on that's where the date of birth is wrong. And that system interacts with Medicare and everything. So contact Social Security, call Social Security and say, hey, on my NUMI, what's my date of birth? And if they say, an incorrect date, then you have to provide your birth certificate to update your date of birth. And easy. So, and then everything else will be set up. So, another donation. Thank you. I appreciate this. Yeah, this is a 2-man operation. Me and my son, he works behind the scenes and he makes sure all the technical stuff works. And sometimes I still mess it up. But anyway, you and your friends being in Gitmo for stealing American taxpayer money and funneling it through NGOs. Okay. Gitmo, huh? All right. Okay. Not sure who that's directed at. So, and so if you're in Gitmo, that means you're in one of the 2 countries in the world that you cannot collect Social Security benefits. So, well, Gitmo is, I guess, is a different thing because it's actually considered U.S. territory. Based on the Spanish-American War. So anyway, if you are in Cuba or North Korea, those are the only 2 places that Social Security Administration cannot send checks to. So if you're in Gitmo, maybe that's an exception because it's considered U.S. territory. But anyway, so I don't know what you were talking about, but there you go. All right, y'all have an awesome day, and please take care of each other. Share this information you get. Reach out to people, and there's got to be someone around that needs help, that is suffering, that could use your direction. So y'all take care. Have an awesome night.